What's up world, welcome to my channel. If you aren't already a subscriber, please subscribe so you don't miss out on any great uploads I have coming for you. This video is dedicated to decision making. Making decisions these days is becoming extremely difficult, and one of the reasons for that is because of the abundance of choices and options we are facing every single day. It's true for dating, job searching, education, and even lifestyle. We have all those options available to us. We can choose how to live our lives, who to surround ourselves with, pick our friends, and even a life partner. We are confused these days, and that's why it's becoming harder to make those decisions. Let's take dating for example, and our divorce rate, our crazy high divorce rate. Why do you think it's so high? Because all this social media, people get married, they get together, they keep posting pictures of themselves looking pretty on social media, and they have all those strangers messaging them all the time, giving them compliments, and so they think, man, I have all those options available. I didn't even know about that until I started posting. And so they start, cheating, having affairs, ruining their own relationships, and shit goes downhill. It's true for every aspect of our life. Decision making is a hard process because as humans, we like stability and consistency. If something is unpredictable to us, it feels uncomfortable, and so we are struggling to make that decision to try it. And this is exactly why most people live an average life and don't take any risks, because that requires you getting out of your comfort zone. So when we have 10 or more choices available to us, we become paralyzed by that abundance of choice because we are afraid of not making the right decision. What if I pick this one instead of that one, and then I'll regret it later? So then instead I don't make any decisions and I just stay where I am. You don't want to spend 2, 3, 5 years on something you hate doing, and then you're gonna keep regretting that you didn't pick the other choice. But then if you would have picked the other choice, you would have had the same thoughts. So here's the first solution to help you make the decision. Make the first step towards making that decision. Narrow down your options. It's as simple as that. And narrow it down as much as possible and be very firm with yourself. When you have 10 options to choose from, you need to understand exactly and know what it is that you are looking for, what you need. And then those needs should be broken down into priorities. High priority, medium, or low priority. And whatever is high is what you're looking for. If the options you're looking at don't offer something that is a high priority to you, those options get eliminated instantly. And so you just keep doing that until you're left with just 1 or 2 options. Here's a simple example. I'm looking for a phone plan. I need the phone plan to include free roaming. I needed to include international calling. I needed to include unlimited data. Those are all high priorities to me. Everything else is minor. So when I'm looking at plans, whichever plan does not include all of those 3, those options get excluded, and so it's becoming easier for me to make that choice. So now instead of 10 options, I'm only looking at 2 or 3, and then from those 3, it's just a matter of picking the right price, the right company. And sometimes it's so difficult to choose between 2 options because the pros and cons of both are really similar. In this case, either one of the options is good for you because the pros are good and the cons are similar, so you're not missing out or anything. Just make a choice. But to make it easier for yourself to do that, make a list of pros and cons for those options. Once you narrow the options down to at least 2 or 3, then you can break it down into pros and cons, and then compare those pros and cons and see. So write everything down, everything you can think of, the good things and the bad things, and then compare those. And this is going to make your decision-making process much easier. Here's another reason why people struggle with making decisions. A lot of us people, and you may recognize yourself in this example, they are waiting until the last moment. Remember when you were in school or university, how many of you have been waiting until the very last night before you start preparing for that exam or quiz or test, or before you even start writing that paper? I know for sure I've been there. I've been on both ends. I've tried to finish a paper early, and I've also done a paper last minute, and I gotta tell you that the stress is just not worth it. But a lot of us do that. We just have to wait until the last moment. We basically wait until we have no more choice, and this is how we are made. This is how we are. And this is a killer. This is really bad. Whenever you wait for the last minute, all you're getting in the end is the leftovers. For example, you're waiting for the last minute to get a summer job. Well, if you wait until the last minute, you're gonna be left with either no job at all or just the leftovers that nobody else wanted. You're gonna get the hardest jobs and the dirtiest jobs. If you wait until the last minute to study for your exam, you're basically essentially throwing away your own chance to do better. If you wait until the last minute to study for your exam, you're basically throwing away your own chance to study better, study harder, get a better grade, and do better in the end of the day. And then be considered for a good job, for a good career in the future, because you are a C student instead of an A student. Because A students study in advance, C students, C's get degrees, they say, but those degrees don't get jobs. Being proactive these days is an extremely strong asset to have. It gives you a competitive advantage, not waiting until the last moment to do something. It's a strength, it's not a weakness. But unlike waiting for the last minute, that is a weakness because you can't control yourself, you can't force yourself to do things that you know you need to do. So how should you deal with this? It's also simple. You gotta set deadlines for yourself. Remember how in school you had deadlines? Well, now in real life, when you don't have any real deadlines, you have to be the person setting those deadlines for yourself. But now the question is, how are you going to keep yourself accountable? You don't have that teacher or professor that is expecting you to finish that. Well, what you got to do is you got to tell as many people as possible about your goals, about your plans, and about your deadlines. And then subconsciously you will do whatever it takes to reach that deadline because you know people are expecting you to finish it. So that's how you do it when you're on your own. Because how much can you trust yourself to meet your own deadlines? I bet you can't really trust yourself that much with that. You may have heard all the stories how really successful people, a lot of them, not all of them, but they reach rock bottom before they go all the way up, before they rise to the top. Because that's how humans are. We wait until the last minute, until things couldn't get any worse, and then we're like, okay, let's get back up there. Waiting until this moment, until you hit the rock bottom, is a really bad strategy because you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. If you're somewhere in the middle, you don't need to wait to go all the way to the bottom to get to the top. If you're in a high rise, it's an 8-story building and you're on the 3rd floor. Why would you go down to the 1st floor so that you can sprint all the way up to the 8th floor when it's much easier from the 3rd floor to get up? You have less stories to go. If you didn't file for bankruptcy, if your credit score is not the worst one, why would you want to make it the worst possible before you start working your way up? No, start from where you are today and don't wait until you reach rock bottom, because it's just gonna make life much harder for you if you do that. Here's another crazy reason. People often wait until someone else makes the decision for them. It's often the case with people that always had their parents telling them what to do, and now they grew up and they keep waiting for someone to tell them what to do. We can't choose our parents, our family, and the way we're being raised, so that's out of our control. But there comes a point in life where we have to start taking responsibility for our actions, and we can't keep waiting for someone else to tell us what to do. I even know people that do a really bad job at work just to kind of provoke their bosses to fire them. That's how bad it can get sometimes. So they hate their job. They don't want to quit though. They don't want to make that decision to quit on their own because they're going to feel guilty if they do. So what they start doing is subconsciously they know they're done with this place. So they start doing a crappy job. And then the boss notices it, and of course, in the end of the day, they have a talk, and the person gets let go. If you're living this way, you're gonna be the most miserable person ever. Think about it. On one hand, you're waiting until the last minute to make a decision, to do anything, so you're not doing anything, because you don't know, you don't have any deadlines. And on the other hand, you're waiting for someone else to make a decision for you. So you stay at this place that you hate. You don't have the guts to quit on your own, but you end up ruining your own reputation just to have someone else fire you to make the decision for you. And they might not make the decision. They might not even care how you work. So you're just gonna get stuck there waiting and hating life, hating yourself for not being able to make that decision. The good news is that you can get out of this routine. You just need to start making decisions. And I've already mentioned a few ways to you earlier on how to make your decision-making process easier for yourself. And here's another good one. Pick your circle of friends really carefully, because I bet you if you went to a different high school and ended up being friends with different people, you would have grown up into a different person from what you are today. We of course make the choices in the end of the day, but a lot of that when we are growing up is peer pressure and the people we surround ourselves with. Let's say you hang out with people that always want to play video games and watch movies. So every time you hang out, that's exactly what you do. You either play video games or you watch movies. You're not growing. Those people will never help you get anywhere in life unless you are a professional gamer and that's your practice. But if that's not the case, and chances are it's not if you're watching this, then this is just wasting your life. But let's say, for example, I'll switch this group of friends of yours to people that are entrepreneurs who are always thinking of ways to make money, of how to invest money, how to open businesses, how to run business. They talk about that kind of stuff. What should we do? How can we make more money? How can we start a business? What can we invest our money into? You are also gonna start thinking about those things, because now that's all they're talking about. So instead of playing video games, you're talking about making money. And subconsciously, right, your brain will get rewired eventually to also think about ways to start making money. And then you're gonna brainstorm with those people. You'll be taking risks, you will be taking chances, you'll be trying things, you'll be making decisions. Notice this one trend in this video and every other success video out there. I want to digest it for you because not everybody is good at reading between the lines, but I just want to throw it out there as a bonus tip. Every video is revolving around you have to take action, you have to do something. If you don't do anything, nothing changes. Things only happen when actions take place. Actions lead to things. Lack of actions lead to failure. I don't care what you do or where you start, but you need to start somewhere and do something. And this is the key to start seeing any kind of difference, any changes. If you're a gamer and you realize that you're not doing anything useful with your life, your first step will be to stop gaming. I have nothing against gamers, by the way. I'm just using this as an example because watching movies and playing video games, unless you're making money off of that, is a waste of time. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it is a waste of time. If you play 1 hour a day, that's one thing, but if you spend all of your free time gaming, that is becoming an addiction that is extremely harmful for your own success, for your own future. You're stealing that time from yourself. So you have to replace gaming with a different activity that's more useful, such as learning, for example. So you got to start picking up some books so that you can try and find your passion. See what it is in life that you may enjoy doing other than gaming that can be more useful. If you keep indulging in a harmful activity, one that keeps you miserable and you're addicted to it, all you do is complain but keep doing that activity, you're bound to always be miserable. Truth number one is that we all have choice these days. We all have choices. And the truth number two is that nobody will do anything for you. You have to do it yourself. So take responsibility for your own life and your own actions and do something to make your life better today. Start today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do something today if you are not satisfied with where you are today. Alrighty guys, so this was part one of a two-part discussion. I don't want to make it too long for you, so I decided to break it down into 2 parts. So there's a lot of useful information here. Please hit the like button if you got something good out of this video, and also to help me get this video out to more people that may need to hear this. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber so that you don't miss the second part of this video when it comes out in a couple of days, and comment with your thoughts on this video below. Also, don't forget to grab your free stocks on Robinhood and Webull. In the description below I left some links. Check it out, make an account, get a free stock. That's free money right there. I'll catch you in part 2 of this discussion.